Hello, good morning everybody. So in this video, we have some very exciting news. Granted, this happened about 3 days ago, but I've been really busy with work, but better late than never, right? So for those of you that are new to the channel, welcome. I'm Johnny Mac, and for those of you that are returning subscribers, welcome back to another New World video. So super exciting stuff. The developers actually listened. The developers put out an end-game update a few days ago in which the news was not very well received because they were making some changes in the new PTR that is getting ready to launch probably sometime around December 14th alongside the new winter update that is happening for the new event. But the community came together as a whole. We voiced our opinions. There was lots of videos put out showing the just overall dismay about the update, and AGS listened. AGS actually listened. It is super exciting news. I was absolutely thrilled to see these changes. So let's go ahead and take a look at what they rolled back. Very interesting stuff, guys. So thank you all for your continued feedback on the expertise and gypsum system. Whenever possible, we want to share upcoming changes and discuss them with you so we can build a better game together. Your feedback on this system has greatly improved the direction, so thank you again. Before diving in, I want to be clear that we are dedicated to not reducing the power of players in the world, other than cases addressing bugs and imbalance problems. The rest of this post details how we are achieving that while retaining the benefits of the expertise and gypsum system. Which, by the way, I'm going to go on the record and I'm going to say that my previous words on the system, in which I'll play a little clip right here. Insert slap in the face here, Amazon Game Studios. Now, granted, this is based off of my opinion, and I'm not even at 60 yet. I'm making a hard push to 60, right? But for those who have put in the work to grind out their ridiculous high watermark system, which, by the way, is probably the worst end-game progression system in the history of MMOs, Amazon Game Studios. The history of MMOs. You're going to claim to have heard the feedback from your community, who literally has told you thousands upon thousands of times that your high watermark system needs to be completely scrapped. Not revamped, but scrapped. And then you're going to slap them in the face by saying that we heard you. Beautiful. My previous words on this system were pretty harsh because, quite frankly, the changes that they were talking about making were not only a slap in the face to, anybody that had put in all this work, but it made the crafting system pretty much unviable, worthless almost, right? So let's go ahead and dive a little bit further in here. The big change. In early 2022, when we start reducing the effectiveness of gear to your expertise level, we will exempt the following items. And this is huge because this feeds right into the winter event that's getting ready to come, guys. So pay attention to this. We will exempt the following items. Any item you craft, big one, crafters. Any item you earn from a quest, also big one, which it made no sense with their previous developer notes because the 580 weapon quests, what was going to happen to them? Were they going to be reduced if you were fresh into 60 but you hadn't received that watermark yet? So that was a big one. And any item you purchase from the faction shop. Also, really big news. That one is exceptionally big because that really emphasizes and puts value on actually spending your faction points, right? So now faction gear just received an inherent bump in value, which is awesome because before I never really considered the faction gear to be really all that great, but now it's even more viable because it can give you that bump that you need to maybe progress through to the next, level of watermark, right? So pretty awesome. When these changes are implemented, gear score scaling will only apply to items sold or traded after the patch. So for those of us, who are fresh into 60 or you've been, not quite there yet, yada. If you have something that's above your current watermark, once this change happens, it's still going to be viable. It's not being scaled back, guys. So that's a big one. So any items obtained prior to this patch will not be impacted or reduced in any way. When we thought about it more, reducing power for existing players is just unacceptable and something we will not do. We initially thought it being only temporary and giving a new path with to gain back that power with gypsum would be acceptable, but it is now clear we were wrong. Yes, AGS, you were, and I just want to say thank you for acknowledging that fact. That is absolutely amazing of you guys. This updated system will also give players alternative ways to equip themselves if they do not want to engage in the expertise system. Crafting especially will gain even more importance in New World, since any item you craft will be usable at that gear score regardless of expertise. Quest and faction shop items will be other alternatives to good gear, and both are things we can continue to introduce more of in the future. So, that right there, also huge chunk of information, guys. So crafters now are even more important. Granted, you know, it's one of those things that if you craft it yourself or whatever, that's the way that you can take advantage of that bump and watermark, right? Not everybody wants to go out and kill a bazillion monsters or go out and farm a bazillion chests or anything like that. They want to play the game how they want to play it, right? And that was one thing that a lot of people, including myself, joined this, game, this community to do. That was the one appealing factor, was that New World. You could play it how you wanted to play. It wasn't a theme park, it was a sandbox, and they were getting ready to, with their previous, announcement of the changes that they were wanting to make, was they were wanting to take that theme park, or sorry, that sandbox experience away, and they were wanting to make it more of a theme park, which dampened the overall image and dampened the overall theme of the game to begin with. So once again, amazing change. Let's continue. We acknowledge this change will create a difference between the way the game worked before this change and after. We recognize that some players who haven't hit 60 yet and acquired their gear may feel like the game got harder for them. Hopefully this is offset with the addition of gypsum as a new avenue that previous players didn't have. In addition, when we implement the gear score scaling, we will now only reduce the effectiveness to the middle of your expertise and the item's gear score. So if your musket expertise is 520 and you buy a 600 gear score musket off the market, your effective gear score will be 560. Absolutely amazing, guys. Absolutely amazing. So no matter what, you can still feel like you're getting ahead of that curve for, those who were, the trailblazers and, power leveled their way to 600 in any way, shape, or form. Grats to them. But there are those of us who are lagging behind, who have been taking their time with the game and playing it the way we want to play. But now we're not being as hurtfully punished. And with the previous announcement of the changes they were wanting to make, it was basically putting everybody down into the ground. So this is a good middle ground between those two, which I think is absolutely amazing. This, combined with getting to use all perks, should create value in the marketplace for future users. Absolutely amazing. So excited. So excited. December tuning and balance adjustments. Also, based on the PTR feedback from playing with expertise and gypsum system, we are going to make a number of tuning and balance adjustments to that system. Please keep in mind, these have not been tested, so consider them directional examples of the changes we are planning for December. So, once again, that's one of those tentative things, but once again, also an absolutely amazing changes. Let's check this out. Reduce the cost of crafting gypsum orbs to 2.5 coin from 100, and gypsum cast to 5 coin from 475. We decided there was no need to add another coin expense for our level 60 players, but kept a minimal amount so in-game territory owners can earn a little more tax income. Once again, absolutely amazing. Change Topaz Gypsum to daily instead of weekly, and reduce crafting ingredients to make it less difficult to craft. They're talking about the vial, the little potion that you can craft in order to, go out into the world and kill 55 plus mobs to get gypsum to drop. So once again, going from a weekly to a daily, absolutely amazing. Makes total sense. I felt it was a little weird that they made it a weekly thing instead of, a daily thing. So once again, absolutely awesome. Yet another way to earn more gypsum to help give you those bumps in your watermark. Absolutely amazing. Change gypsum earn cooldown timers from 22 hours to 18 hours. Also a big one. Just to give a little more leeway to people's play schedules. In the future, we want to build a global cooldown system to make it easy to coordinate this and other daily activities like crafting and faction missions, but that is a lower priority than server mergers and other critical fixes. So this will not happen in the short to medium term, but more the long term. So we might be looking, maybe a couple months down the road. Adjusted the way expertise bumps work, so there is a minimum as well as a maximum. Currently, there is no minimum, which can result in a few bad rolls at the start, really demoralizing players. This will also decrease the average bumps needed to get from minimum to max expertise. Our goal is to average around 35 bumps. So what that means is from the time that you hit level 60, you start at 500 gear score and you're progressing to 600, they want it to take about an average of 35 bumps to reach that level, which really in the grand scheme of things, I don't think that's really that bad. So, it is a grind, yes, obviously, but still not that bad. And whenever you take into account that now you have all the gypsum system in place, I think this is going to be taking the game totally in the right direction. Move gypsum rewards from cache to event. A few activities such as outpost rush, corrupted breaches, arenas, and aptitude granted gypsum in the cache in the PTR. This leads to hoarding and uncertainty if using a cache now is safe. This change should resolve both of those concerns. Thanks again for your feedback. One of the benefits of sharing our plans prior to final implementation is hearing your sentiment and then adjusting designs accordingly. Total breath of fresh air. Total breath of fresh air. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely love these changes. I do believe that these changes are taking the game in the right direction. So if you still are not yet convinced that this is going to bring you back to the game, I strongly urge that you watch my other two videos. I'll have links down here below as to the various other systems that are coming probably next week. And then on top of that, we have server mergers, guys. We have server mergers. So if you are on a dead server or an extremely low pub server and you didn't find it fun, server mergers are coming soon. So if you take that into account, along with the system changes that are coming probably next week, now is really probably a good time to, kind of get geared up if you've been taking a break. Or if you've been with the game, this might be inverse. This might be a good time to kind of take a little bit of a break, so that way you can be nice and fresh coming into the new event starting next week. Tentatively, right? Tentatively next week.
Hey, Johnny. Yeah, you. It's you from the future. Don't forget to tell them to hit that like, subscribe, and give that notification bell a little tickle so that way they get notified when you make future uploads. Your future self thanks you. You're welcome.